What's one rule that your school/workplace has implemented that absolutely backfired? Work instituted a points system for being late or calling off sick. Accrue too many points and you get written up, fired if it continues. They doled out the same number of points whether someone was a minute late or called off altogether. And if an absence lasted up to 5 days, it was still only one absence. So anyone who overslept or encountered heavy traffic and was running late would just stay home for the rest of the week. After several months, they decided that being late was only worth half a point. In our office, we are not allowed to have more than 14 consecutive days off. So one guy booked a cruise for a month, booked off 14 days, then 1 day back, then another 14 days off. He called in sick on his 1 day back. A few years ago we weren't allowed to stand in groups bigger than 4 at our school because this old teacher told us it was gang behavior and encouraging gang violence. One day my entire year of like 100+ people got in a massive group screaming gang gang and throwing gang signs on our school field, so they had to bring every single teacher out to try and split us apart for a straight 20 minutes. Best school day ever. Any support call lasting longer than 25 minutes must be reported to higher ups for review. I.e. if you have too many, no matter if it's your fault or not, you get a disciplinary review. I implemented the rule of politely hang up on a customer as close to 25 minutes as you can and call them right back. I'm sorry, I'm experiencing a small issue with my phone. Is it okay if I call you right back? Gotcha. Outgoing calls are not reported or recorded. It's amazing. My old boss tried implementing an incentive scheme for the underperformers, while anyone who consistently did well received nothing. 3 of us quit within a month. Because of rumors of a drug problem in the school, the administration decided to drug test students. The media jumped all over that, violation of our civil rights or something. The initial statement was that anyone who failed the test would be kicked out of school. After the 40th or so kid failed, they changed the policy to mandatory meetings with the counselor. After the 100th kid failed, they hired another counselor. We used to be allowed to stream music etc on our computers. Spotify was an approved program and would come installed on your computer. Someone complained about productivity despite us always doing our work, and so the banned streaming of any kind on our computers. But now everyone just listens on their phones. So you walk around the office and nearly everyone has their phone out now. So it looks even worse when sponsors come into the office. We weren't allowed to be friends with kids in grades above us, but we could be friends with kids in grades below us. That rule didn't last long. My friend worked as a technician at a place that did installation for telecom, sound, cable, pretty much anything tech related really. The techs were paid by work order completion. Each job had a value that got paid out when you finished the work order. The experienced techs could finish more jobs in a day and made some seriously good money. They were motivated to work fast to get more jobs done, but also to do it correctly, because having to go back within a certain time window and fix a problem didn't pay out, so it lost money. Well, some new management came in and decided to change everyone to hourly wages. Their idea to make techs focus on getting the job done right and not rushing it. All the really good techs saw a massive pay cut from it and immediately quit. The rest of the techs suddenly had no reason to finish jobs quickly since you got paid the same whether you did 2 installs or 10 installs in 1 day, so everyone just started slacking off. Within a few weeks the orders were backed up so bad install dates were pushed out for a month or more, and when people finally did get their stuff installed it took all day instead of a couple hours. That one change completely fucked over the company. It was actually my rule. When I was managing a store, my rule was that the closer had to do all the closing work and mark the checklist and I would check it the following morning. However, I put a loophole in. If you close tonight and open tomorrow, you can come in early the following morning. I was really the only one who closed and then opened the following morning. And I knew that on many of those days I worked 10 hours with non-stop managerial work. So instead of staying late to clean, I like to come in early and do it in sunlight. Well, one day I followed my rule, and the next morning I woke up sick and had to call an employee to cover. He showed up to a dirty store, opted not to clean, and then got written up when the owner made a surprise visit. I didn't close, so it wasn't my job, and the owner said, you work here and the store is dirty, so it is your job. I then had to go tell the owner that it was my fault, and he still responded, regardless of what you did or didn't do. He came into a dirty store and did not clean it. That's not acceptable. I removed my rule change and just made it mandatory to clean before leaving, lol. No cell phones in high school. Security collected them when you walked in, put them in Ziploc bags, and locked them up. They lost like 5 people's phones. Had a fellow at my old place of work that was promoted to sales manager. Within a few days he drafts up a document which he tries to get all of us to sign, basically stating that we aren't working to our full potential and that to make profits or we would have to work even when we weren't working. Aka taking calls from customers, no matter the day or time. This resulted in an almost immediate revolt and about 10 plus people bypassing him directly and going right to the owner. He was demoted, then later fired within a week. Any software related to, whether written inside or outside company time, belongs to the company, me, so if I write and release malware at home, it's the company's problem. The clause was immediately removed. The deputy head of our school banned fidget spinners, and rightly so. In his defense, they were everywhere. On the final day of year 11th, someone hacked his school intranet login and edited the bulletin, leaving a notice in his name saying that fidget spinners were now not only unbanned, but mandatory, and that aficionados could come to his office and learn tips and tricks from him. All printers were defaulted to print two-sided, and you were unable to disable that feature. The thought process being that this would reduce paper waste by literally cutting consumption in half, prevent people from printing out personal crap on work printers. This was decided by a committee of people, primarily from ours, who were tasked by the CEO to find ways to reduce costs and improve our corporate culture. To improve our culture, we basically decided that we'd be cunts about work printers and then we'd all sing together and have a Coke. What ended up happening instead was that corporate finance shit a brick because you can't, or shouldn't, print financials double-sided, and the eyes doesn't take too kindly to getting filings delivered to them in that fashion. Reverse the policy? Nope. Just force areas to add blank pages into documents so that we trick the printers. Bowers then implemented their new Gestapo program where you were awarded for turning in anyone who was doing personal business on work computers or on work printers. The problem was that a stunning amount of personal business was actually stuff like employee benefits stuff, filling out insurance forms, submitting flex pay receipts, scanning your transcripts for our tuition assistance program, etc. While the VP of ours decided to go full on thundercunt and say that employee benefit stuff wasn't work related and needed to be done at home on your personal PC, our freaking chief legal officer came down as our voice of moral reasoning to say that was bullshit, and only then did some of the stupidity unfold. The printer thing was done officially once the KO and CFO started getting double-sided financials. When they complained, their underlings gave them time studies to show the financial cost of having highly paid CPAs do shit like insert blank pages to trick printers instead of, doing accounting and stuff. During our general meeting last week, the owner of the company went on a bit of a rant about negative reviews of management on a popular jobs website with a green logo. He demanded that we stop posting negative reviews immediately and shamed anyone in the room who had done so. As you can guess, people doubled down and posted their grievances on the same day as the meeting. I was told this story when I was in the army by a parachute rigger. The workday in the army is 9 o'clock to 4:30. Riggers packing troop chutes had a daily quota of 35 chutes. Once they got good at it, these guys could be done by 2:30, which is a very nice workday indeed. Well, they got this new captain who decided that, since these guys are getting 35 done by 2:30, then obviously making them work until 4:30 would increase output even more. So of course that unit's numbers went way down, and the 35 and you're done for the day was quickly reinstated. In college after my freshman year, they decided on a new rule set to enforce a meal plan because students just weren't signing up for them and students were renting small houses nearby. Therefore, you're not allowed to move off campus unless your home is within 30 minutes of campus. You have to have a meal plan while living on campus. Our food was god awful bad. I researched into why it was so bad, and it turns out it was by Sodexo. Half the time, all the food was so horrid that we couldn't stomach it, and the other half it was just bad, but stomachable. Know what happened? Students had meal plans, but they didn't eat. They went out and bought their own groceries to bring them back to their rooms. School realized it was wasting tons of food because it was preparing it and nobody was eating it, so it tried to shame the students by showing us how much was wasted every week. Some students decided to respond by putting a sign on the administration's door saying, "Food won't be wasted if you give us some actual damn food we can eat." Another big one was when they implemented the housing lottery for our campus. Originally, it was a first come first serve basis. Administration got pissed because people started camping out in front of the area the night before, so the ones who really wanted certain roommates could make sure they were there bright and early. So the random lottery system comes in, and we were told we couldn't change a decision at all until a month after the next year started. Everyone just made swaps on their own and told the administration afterwards. Administration got pissed and said they needed to move back to their original rooms, and most everyone said no. So if you need me, here I'm at this location. I swapped with this person so me and my friend or friends could room together like we wanted. I was gone by this one, but the school had a very rare type of semester schedule that made us stand apart from everyone else. We were a block schedule. A new president came in, and she decided that we needed to get off that and instead go to a weird hybrid system that just sounded more convoluted than going to a normal semester system. Turns out, the faculty and students hated that idea in ridiculous amounts, and it showed in a campus-wide vote on it where the results were published. New president decided to force it to change by saying that the faculty had influenced the student body, that it was inconvenient for them, and therefore the votes of almost everyone who didn't like it didn't count. A massive amount of professors retired at the end of that year in response. Edit, just to also say this, believe it or not, I loved my time there. The professors and students were great, just stupid admin decisions made some bad running experiences. It's also changed so much in the past 5 years that I can't even say if all these problems still exist now. I hope not. And since I've had so many questions, this was Tusculum College in Eastern Tennessee. I was there circa 2006 to 2009 before I transferred to a place that had a better degree for my major.